Okay, I think we're all ready. Just raise your hand if you can hear me. I've got a really loud voice that can penetrate headphones, to be honest. So welcome to the Female Leaders Bar. So MadFest is always about creators, mavericks, innovators, but this year they've gone further. And so 6 weeks ago, I think it was, the Female Leader Bar was born. Sorry, Lisa, you just reminded me that it was 6 weeks ago. It was a huge accomplishment to put this all together, and I want to do a big round of applause to the 26 partners who've supported this. So give all of those people a big round of applause. So we were approached as myself, I'm Julia Linehan, founder of the Digital Voice. We've got as well
Ellie Edwards, co-founder of the Advisory Collective.
And Katie Street, founder of Street Agency.
And Lisa Manal, co-founder of the Advisory Collective.
Perfect. So together, we've curated an incredible set of female voices to entertain you, to educate you over the next 3 days. So please do look at the agenda and join all these sessions, because this is all about elevating and celebrating female leaders. This is about educating, and this isn't about keeping men out of the conversation. In fact, we very much welcome it. Everybody has the opportunity to encourage, I think, to get rid of bias, unconscious or otherwise. There should be no barriers, full stop. But in order to do that, we have to educate and celebrate, and that's what all the sessions will do. We've got a huge range of speakers. We've got brands like Boots and Starling Bank. Rachel's coming up first. We've got ad tech, we've got creative, we've got agencies. We've got an incredible amount of voices, all for one purpose. They're all strong female leaders. They're all incredible, a lot of fun. So hopefully you will enjoy all the sessions. From my side, all I ask of really of the industry has always been to step up, to lean in and even up the balance. And I think the fact that we have a whole bar to be able to do that shouts volumes about the enthusiasm to do that within our industry. So I'm going to hand now to Ellie, Katie and Lisa to say a few words as well.
Thanks so much, Jules. As I said, I'm Ellie Edwards, co-founder of the Advisory Collective. And as a female-led business, we are excited and passionate to be here. There are so many initiatives in the industry that focus on entry level. But what happens when you're mid-level? What happens when you're at senior level? We still need that network. We still need that support. As you get older in the industry, as I've been in the industry over 20 plus years, you know, things change and you need to be able to speak to people about perimenopause, menopause, things that have been taboo in the workplace, but actually we should be able to have those discussions. This space is an opportunity for people to get together, to network, to share ideas, to ask questions. There's no such thing as a silly question. There's no such thing as a taboo question. But get somebody that you've not met before, go and say hello to them, ask what they do, and see how you can connect, see how you can work together. That's all I've got to say. Look forward to the next few days.
Over to you, Katie.
Amazing. Well, you've all heard who I am already, so I'm not going to go for that bit. But I guess two things that I really want to highlight this week. One is, and there is mainly women here, so I'm going to go for that point first.
Shout out to the men, though.
Don't have limiting beliefs. Put yourself forward. Men are so much better than us at putting themselves forward. I think the stats are something like 20% of women will apply. No, a woman will only apply for a job if she's got 20% of the skills. A man, no. Wrong way round. 80% of the skills, a man will apply if they only have 20%. So I guess my biggest thing is I hope this few days is going to inspire loads of you guys as women to put yourselves forward for things that maybe you wouldn't usually feel brave enough to do. So we want to give you bravery. We want to inspire you.
Go on. Yes, we are.
Woohoo! And then the other thing that's super, super important is to include men. And there aren't many men here. So if you find a man in the audience somewhere today, bring them along, because we need them to be part of this story. You know, mindsets have got to change. Our approach has got to change. I think, you know, obviously us females have a huge role to play in this, but I think men and how they include us, how they talk to us, little words can make such difference. So I really want to highlight those things as well. I'm interviewing some amazing people at different stages of their careers, some women who lead. You know, I'm interviewing the head of marketing for HSBC. She is leading a team of 40. I'm also interviewing an amazing lady who is kind of at the start of her career, Perla from EA Games. She kind of runs all the marketing for The Sims. So there's going to hopefully be a bit of diversity in the people that I speak to as well. So yeah, hopefully see you all here and hope we inspire you over the next few days.
Wonderful. Thank you, Katie. To Lisa. Few words from you, Lisa.
Thank you. I don't think there's really much left for me to say. But just to reiterate, this was an idea 6 weeks ago. So MadFest is planned. When this one finishes, it's in planning. And Ian and Dan said to us, what do you think? And we go, right, let's do this. We had no idea of the reception that we would get. We had no idea. The space has gone from being a small space to a bigger space to a bigger space to a bigger space. And now it's quite a major space. And this is the first one. And there will be many, many more to come. So get involved, embrace it, come and listen to the conversations, be inspired. Don't be afraid. Just don't be afraid.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Lisa. So each session will last 15 minutes. That's it, each one. They're bite-sized nuggets of brilliance by brilliant people. So thank you all. If you go stage left for now, stay sat down because you're going to want to. Because I'm going to welcome to the stage the amazing Rachel Kerrone, who is Brand and Marketing Director for Starling Bank. So big silent disco welcome.
Thanks, Julia.
Hello, Rachel. How are you doing?
Can you all hear me okay?
Can we just...
It's really off-putting when everyone's
It's
got
so
headphones on.
off-putting. And also, I'm so loud, so I'm really, really sorry. I feel like I'm going to penetrate your ears, which is terrible. Rachel, we were chatting just beforehand, and this is such an exciting way to kick off, because Rachel has a huge amount of energy and an amazing story to tell. So I wanted to start with that, set the scene about your story as a female leader.
So I have scarily been in the financial services industry for over 20 years now. I started my career on a trading floor working for a US investment bank, which was probably the most male-dominated job I could have picked. I think I fairly quickly realised that wasn't going to be the career for me. So I stayed in financial services, but moved very much more into a sort of marketing and creative role. Was always really interested in brands and what brands were doing. So yeah, there's certainly been a lot of changes in that 20 years, mostly for the better, thank goodness, certainly when it comes to gender equality.
I think when we were saying, when Rachel said about working on a trading floor, and I was like, I mean, all the industries is probably some of the toughest. But we also were saying it's never been a better time to be a female leader, but there are still barriers. What barriers do you still see day to day that exist?
I mean, I'm very lucky that I now work for Starling Bank, which was a very conscious choice to go and work for a company which was founded by women. So gender equality is very much part of the DNA of Starling, and that really shows and it really makes a difference. There are still barriers. Probably one of the barriers that I've faced the most is becoming a mum. You know, you're going to be out of the business for a while. You generally come back part-time. You know, you're sort of fighting for... You've got lots of people fighting for your attention. You've got your job, you've got your kids, you know. So that is still definitely a barrier. But I think, you know, with what's happened in the last few years, with flexible working, people being able to work more sort of virtually and from anywhere, that's really opened up a lot of opportunities for anybody with kind of other responsibilities outside work, but particularly for women and particularly for mums.
I think so. And one thing I think both Rachel and I agree on, we want one message to you all. If you think there's a ceiling, smash through it. Please don't think it exists, because you just honestly, the more you ignore it, the more you'll have confidence to just go, there isn't a barrier, and if there is one, we're going to smash right through it. Definitely. I wanted to ask actually those here, can you raise your hands if you're just starting out in your career? If you're, say, 2, 3, 4 years in. So there's a lot of people here. So, Rachel, what's the advice to these people starting out? What would your advice be?
I would say just, you know, don't wait for other people to change things. Change them yourself. Like, be really brave, be really bold. I know we really agree on that, Julia. You know, don't be afraid to ask for things, because I think I spent a long time, probably at the beginning of my career, thinking, there's so much to change. Like, how do you do it? Like, I'm just one person. But actually, if we all make those small changes, it all helps. So definitely kind of being brave and being bold and being a part of making that change, I think, is a really big one for me.
I think so. Rachel's very lucky because you work for a company in which there couldn't be anyone more bold than Anne Bowden. So Starling Bank is the first fintech disruptor, and obviously is run by a female founder. But does it frustrate you that still in finance, bad enough in tech, but in finance it's still quite male dominated?
Yeah, I mean, fintech is basically made up of, as the name suggests, of finance and technology, two of the most male-dominated industries out there, probably. It does irk me and it does annoy me, and I think it does a lot of us internally. But instead of getting annoyed about it, we look at how we can create solutions and what we can do to help. So we run loads of initiatives at Starling, and lots of these come from women around the business, ideas that are put forward. So, for example, we've now got a whole new kind of, it's called the twilight shift pattern. So people that actually have other responsibilities during the day, you can start work at 6 o'clock, you can work through till 11 o'clock, so you can continue your career, you're just not doing it in that pigeonholed kind of 9 to 5 or 9 to 6 day. We are a member of lots of bodies and industry bodies who help women get into tech, who teach women to code. So really sort of trying to expand the talent that's coming into the industry. Because one of the biggest problems is there's just not enough women coming through the door in the tech industry. So we need to give more women those opportunities.
So we need to encourage women in, but potentially we also need to change the environment and create an environment in which women can thrive. Any thoughts? How do we do that? There's people are here that are change makers that can make it happen.
Yeah, I think, again, it just goes back to the sort of, we've all got to do our bit. And I think, showing women out there who may want to get into tech that, standing up at events like this as a woman who works in tech, I'm not a software engineer, but we do have software engineers who will go out and talk at events that are very male dominated generally. So I think just sort of, like attracts like, and I think showing people that, there is a space there in these industries for women is really important, and just always sort of being a voice and always, keeping on banging the drum. It's not going to change overnight, but yeah, if we carry on banging that drum, it will change.
I think, and I cannot stress enough, just even having the female leaders bar here. And for Katie, I know your daughter's here. Oh, sorry, I'm embarrassing you. My daughter's coming on Thursday, so I'm going to do the same. But I think all of us, you surround and see women who are doing it, and you just watch and learn and know it's possible and anything's possible. With that, actually, Rachel, is there anyone you want to shout out who's inspired you?
Well, I can't obviously not talk about Anne. I've been lucky enough. So Anne, for those who kind of don't know, is the only woman to have ever started a bank in the UK, which is amazing. And not only that, she did it in her 50s. So, not your typical tech entrepreneur. You've got a woman, she's a woman in her 50s who's starting a bank and who everybody told she couldn't do it.
Unbelievable.
It's an amazing story. And I think, one of the things that kind of, is completely part of our DNA is, Anne has always been really open about the difficulties and challenges that she faced. She's never kind of glossed over it, that it was an easy thing to do. But so many people along the way told her that she couldn't do it, but she did. So I think definitely for me, that's been really inspiring, because basically, if people tell you can't do something, tell them you can and carry on and do it,
Have you actually experienced that yourself, of people saying, no, you can't do it? I mean, it can't be done. Or is there anything else you can add a bit more insight into that as to what you say?
Yeah, I think just sort of, not directly telling me, no, you can't do it. But I think just sort of, if you don't make an environment where people kind of feel is safe and open, then you're not giving people those opportunities. So I think sort of, I'm the kind of person, if somebody told me I couldn't do something, that would maybe even more, want to do it even more. But I think, there's so many inspiring women, there's tons of them here over this next few days. In history, there's a huge amount of inspiring women. We sponsored the Women's Euros last year, and working with the Lionesses was incredible. Like, some of those stories of resilience and perseverance and what they went through to get to where they are was just blew my mind.
I think it's not a bad one. Choose the whole Women's Euro team. That has inspired you. I think actually you made a good point there. I think if I could ask of everybody here for their time at MadFest, make at least one connection. You know, go up and introduce yourself to somebody. It could be Rachel after her session. It could be any of the speakers. Put yourself out there. Make connections. It will make a massive difference. I'm going to come to one final question, Rachel. I'm a big believer in doing what you love and really, really enjoying it. What brings you joy?
Oh gosh, lots of things. Being in these sort of spaces actually brings me a lot of joy, talking to people, networking with people, but also I think doing something, you know, you got to get up in the morning and do something you love. And I think for me, you know, I felt like for a long time I wasn't in that place where I absolutely loved what I was doing, and I kind of kept going until I found it. And you know, there's lots of things that I'm passionate about, like kids and money, teaching children and teenagers more about money, things like that. But you know, I can do all of that as part of my role. So I think find something that doesn't just feel like work, find something that really feels like you've got a passion for it, and then you will want to get up and do it every day. And if you haven't found that, then keep on looking.
Keep looking. I would say the same. I think it's really important, as so many people stay in jobs, etc., but don't always think about what brings you joy. Remember, there's lots of community groups out there as well. Lean into those. That'll be your support network. That is it for our first session. We're going to take a mini break, and then there'll be other speakers coming up next from Ellie and Katie. Can we put our hands together, and a big thank you for kicking off today, Rachel Kerrone.
Thank you, Julia.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. We're taking a mini break, and then Ellie will be up next. Thank you all.